5 Time Thieves. In last week's article and podcast, I suggested there are 2 types of time management challenges, people and process. As a reminder, last week we focused on that the goal with people is always to build trust. Trust is the glue that bonds people together. And in this week's article and podcast, I wanted to address the second type of time management challenge, process. And in my opinion, the goal with processes is always to reduce time safely. I'd like to suggest that the 5 process time thieves are as follows. Number 1, email. Number 2, phones. Number 3, interruptions. Number 4, procrastination. And number 5, meetings. Now, although there are people involved, there are also processes. Now, we must have effective relationships and efficient processes when serving our colleagues, clients, and vendors. Very few employees have been trained how to manage these 5 time thieves. Now, due to space limitations here, I'm just going to summarize 3 recommended best practices for each time thief. Now, feel free to email me if you'd like a document summarizing best practices that we've gathered now from clients all over the globe. Number 1, email. Here are my 3 top tips. Use the subject header by prefixing with info or action, or rarely urgent action with a red exclamation mark. You'll find your recipient will appreciate this. Number 2, on email, use the person's name at the start of the email and consider opening and closing with a phrase that connects us as humans, such as I trust you well, or I trust this is useful. Number 3, on email, be clear whose court the ball is now in by closing with a phrase such as, I look forward to hearing from you. Over to phones. Number 1, consider standing up when making a call. I do, as you'll find you'll communicate clearer and your call time will reduce. Number 2, on phones, if you have to deal with someone who is verbose, summarize back what they've said and ask them if you've understood them. People who are very wordy are often that way because they don't feel understood. Number 3, on phones, to avoid text tag and ambiguity, use the voice recorder function on your cell and then send the recording as a text message. On to interruptions. Number 1, if someone stops by your work area and asks, do you have a minute? Ask them if it really is a minute. If they need longer, schedule a mutually convenient time and consider going to their work area to meet. Why? Well, it's easier to walk away from someone when you're done rather than push him or her out of your work area. Interruptions. Consider standing up as well when someone interrupts you. Most people will perceive this as a sign of respect, and you'll find your conversation will be more concise. And then thirdly, on interruptions, consider using earbuds or earphones while working at your desk to avoid distractions and even eye contact with people who just want to stop by, waste your time and theirs, and just shoot the breeze for no purpose. Now on to procrastination. Number 1, top tip, involve others whose work you depend upon to get their input on timelines and milestones as soon as possible. People tend to support what they help create. Number 2, on procrastination, if you're a morning person, attack work you may have a tendency to procrastinate on first thing in the morning, and vice versa if you're more of an afternoon person. Third one on procrastination, reward yourself for getting something done, such as I'll do X and then I'll make a coffee, etc. Now on to meetings. Number 1, be an influencer and respectfully challenge the status quo of meetings. Do we need to meet? Do we need this amount of time? Does everyone need to be here for the whole meeting? Can we meet standing up? Secondly, on meetings, be an example to others by making sure you've done what you said you were going to do as a result of the last meeting. And of course, be on time. Number 3, on meetings, be focused by having a timed agenda, a timekeeper, and don't allow the meeting to be sidetracked. Be on time, be focused. Now, by implementing best practices for our processes, we can reduce the time stolen by one or all of the 5 time thieves. But also we need to remind ourselves the goal with people is to build trust. Remember, when you're in a high trust relationship with someone in the workplace, you tend to get things done more efficiently, more effectively. Now, I believe this quote from author Mark Buchanan from Pepperdine University out in Malibu, a client of ours, summarizes this tension between processes and people exceptionally well. He says, quote, generous people have more time. Contrariwise, those who guard every minute, resent every interruption, ration every moment, never have enough. They're always late, always behind, always scrambling, always driven. Now, there is, of course, a place for wise management of our days and weeks and years, but management can quickly turn into rigidity. We hold time so tight we crush it like a flower closed in the fist. We thought we were protecting it, but all we did was destroy it. In conclusion, I really hope these last 2 articles, 2 podcasts, have encouraged you to focus on building effective relationships and to have efficient processes at work.